Hi, Vinnie Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed, just like the woman on the other mic. Yeah, she comes in every Wednesday, whether we wanted to or not. She shows
Right.
up, and I cannot wait to talk to her. I'm talking about the beautiful Miss Gina Grad.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. In fact, I don't think I told you this last week. I am down 16 and a half pounds.
Gina, I was going to start the show by mentioning that because I saw you the other night
Mm-hmm.
standing out in front of Les Mis.
Yes, it was a fabulous show.
I've seen Les Mis.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Not one of my favorites, but it's okay.
Oh, oh,
It's not Figaro. It's not La Traviata.
oh, my, oh, we're going that direction. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were slumming it with Les Mis. Oh, I see.
Everybody knows Les Mis. It's kind of like, oh,
It's a
I'm gay. I'm
classic.
gay, so I'm going to go watch Les Mis, right? It's like,
Get that drop.
yeah. No, you got to, I love operas. I really do.
Well, then I thought you'd love Les Mis, which is they refer to as a mega musical, since it's not an opera, but there's no talking. It's every word is sung.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's no Madam Butterfly,
That's
but
true.
yeah, it is what it is. Did you enjoy? Was it a good?
It was I've seen it on Broadway and this was better. It was a fantastic production at the famous Pantages Theater in Los Angeles. So I went with my a good girlfriend Becky, who invited me, and we took pictures and stuff, and I'm hoping you can see, not really, maybe today I'm a little bloated, but in my face I kind of gain and lose in my face easily, and I
Yeah.
looked at my pictures and I was like, oh wow, okay, it's starting to show up.
It's not even looking like Eugenia. Number one, number two. Like when you showed me the pictures about a month ago, 3 weeks ago from the vacation.
Oh yeah.
And I even told you, I said, get rid of that picture where you are trying to cover up the fact that you don't have a tan.
The tan line.
It looks like you're trying to hide something.
Yeah.
Look, I've known you now for 8, 9 years,
Yes.
2015.
Yeah.
8 years.
For yeah, 8 years.
Yeah. This is the best version. You weren't doing this good. And women usually, you brought your A game for your wedding.
I tried so hard, but also I have a feeling, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I lost about 12 and a half pounds. That was just what I could get done. But I feel like between taking care of my dad and him dying and my wedding and all that, I was holding on to a little cortisol, and I feel like I was sort of fighting myself, like white knuckling when I wanted to stress eat, but doing my best. I think I was fighting a lot of battles that I'm no longer fighting, and it's much easier to take off.
Okay, a couple of questions about your weight loss.
Yeah,
Obviously you look better now.
I
Yeah,
can see it
that
in my face.
picture I saw, and I'm like, that's not Gina. Oh wait, that's Gina.
Yeah,
Like I did a double take.
yeah,
Your face looks completely different,
yeah.
right?
Let me scoot back. I'm a little, yeah, I look a little bloated today.
No, you look good.
Okay.
You look good. Your face looks completely different. Your body, the bathing suit shot. Now, I hate to sound crude, but was the boob job after the wedding or before?
The boob job was after. I still had all the boob
Okay.
for the wedding.
Yeah, because people used to say to me, why should we listen to you? Gina's fat. And it's like, no, she's not fat. She's just got the eighth natural wonder of the world hanging off of her rib cage.
That's right.
So it made you look fat.
Well, and I mean, the curves were going every which direction, because even when my waist was small, if I was wearing something that wasn't skin tight, which is not my style,
Right.
your shirt goes out and down.
Yeah, it looked
And
like you were wearing a muumuu. You used to wear t-shirts that were muumuu size.
yeah, just because they fit my chest, but it didn't show my waist. It was the whole thing.
Right.
And so it's just easier to dress for my body now. And you're right. You're right. I worked really hard to lose like 12 and a half pounds. But since I couldn't see my own shoes because
Right.
of before my, it registers as weight because it is weight.
Yeah. And by the way, folks, for anyone who, if you're not aware, Gina, it was a medical condition.
Oh,
Going on.
insurance covered it, and they don't cover
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, they refuse to cover those kind of surgeries. And I think that was a big part of changing your life, because
Yes.
you used to tell me, oh, I want to exercise. My back hurts. My knees hurt. Everything hurts whenever I try to even walk. Now you're walking everywhere. You're doing stuff.
I'm doing.
You're in the water. You're doing.
Let's put it this way. I'm doing a lot of jumping things that were not an option before.
Right. You would have smothered yourself had you tried to jump.
It hurts. It's like, what's the point? This is not, this is this, there's got to be a better way. And my knees, I felt like were turning to powder. I mean, I just feel so much better and everything feels easier, including weight loss. And like you said, it's not just that, I had 47,000 pounds taken off my chest. It's that I'm more confident and things that support weight loss are easier now. So I'm very happy. But I wanted to tell you a couple things. Now, we can't mention her name. This is the rule I'm coming up with, even though we all know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's the rule for what I'm about to say.
All right.
Because then I don't want to hear about it later. There is a woman who who I know very well, who has been doing diet plans her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And, big fan of you, but doesn't always agree, but is coming around.
I'm now down to 2 women. Go on.
Trust me, you'll get it. She knows best. She knows what she's a candidate for and what she isn't, even though she loves and respects you. And she just went to her doctor and she goes, "Thank you very much, honey," if that helps. But I'm going to follow what my nurse and my doctor say. Okay. And not what Vinnie says. Thank you though. For the first time in my life, this woman who shall remain nameless told me, I just got my blood work back. And the nurse said, my triglycerides are really high. I'm eating way too many carbs. And I go, hallelujah. She recommended, like, we've never had this conversation. Like, it's come up for the first time in history. Maybe maybe every once, some good fats, but, to cut down on a lot of the carbs, the diet place that I like does a lot of prepackaged food. And I live on that because it's only, 1 point or 2 points. But apparently I really need to cut back on that stuff. And I heard the angels singing, a light shone down upon us. And Vinnie, I never thought I'd see the day where this woman who shall remain nameless said her carbs are too high with the diet plan she's been following. And maybe Vinnie, once again, might be onto something.
I brought it down to 1 woman, and here's the deal. She's been white knuckling it her whole life.
Yes.
More power to your parents, both of them.
Yeah.
And I know they weren't together, but they were still friends, right?
Yes, very good friends.
Your dad was the picture of health.
Yes.
Literally ran 10 miles every day, no matter
at least. And he never listened to music. He would just go over old baseball stats in his head.
Yeah.
And very health conscious in terms of the way he'd eat. And picture
very
health.
lean. Just think kind of like a Clint Eastwood lean. Just very, very lean.
Yeah.
And your mom is one of these people, very, very, very lean. I was shocked at your mom. I met your mom, I was shocked. But you could tell she's the type of woman that has, just like you said, very stoic, they just get to it.
Yes.
They do things every day.
Yeah. And she grew up in a different time with a different set of, eating values, and she didn't want to be a heavy adult. She was a heavy kid. She didn't want to be a heavy adult.
Yeah. So more power to her that she was able to keep that going. But look, at some point you got to pay the piper. The one thing, and I talked about that. Remember, I told you about that the last video I did on why people fail at keto. I do a whole thing on triglycerides where I explain triglycerides, and I'm going to explain it here for whoever that person may be.
Yeah, mystery person.
Listen to, I'm going to put it in cartoon terms so that everyone can enjoy and understand this. When we eat sugars or any kind of carbohydrate, so it doesn't have to be a simple sugar like cane sugar or agave or honey or anything. It could be any kind of carbohydrate. complex
Crackers.
carbs,
Yeah.
crackers, whole wheat,
Right.
brown rice, millet,
That about covers it.
you name it,
Yeah.
corn, all of it. Okay. The problem is, once you take, no matter what you eat, even if you eat meat, just straight meat, your insulin has to come in and cover it. But with meat, you have this curve, and you know your body's fine.
Right.
You need some carbohydrates. Your body will take some of that protein through gluconeogenesis and give you what you need to top off. That's why people can eat a carnivore diet and get away with it.
Right.
Right? Because meat gives you everything you need. I had an anthropologist on here explaining exactly how that happened with humans. He went back 3.5 million years
Oof.
and started explaining how that happened, even long before Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal. He went back millions of years before that.
To the missing link.
Pretty much. So when you have carbohydrates, you have a much higher spike in your blood. So you have to release more insulin. And the insulin does its job. First thing, it pushes it into your blood. It pushes the sugar into your blood because you need a certain amount of sugar in your blood and in your muscle fiber, and a little bit stays in your liver, right? And
Okay.
it's there for emergencies. Back when we had to outrun, say, a saber-toothed tiger.
Sure.
Or say in Louisiana on a golf course, you got to outrun an alligator. What have you?
Yeah.
You're a quarterback. You might need a little extra sugar.
Sure.
You're a 300-pound man just running at you full speed. But for everyone else, once your sugar's topped off, it's topped off. But you still have all these other carbs. So our bodies are very efficient at doing stuff with things we don't need right now. Storage system. We can only store fat, besides that little bit of sugar. Now, someone my size, or your husband's size, how tall is your husband?
6'1".
6'1", pretty lean guy.
Yeah.
He weighs less than 200 pounds. I'm 180.
Yep.
Guy that size probably needs about 2 teaspoons of sugar mingling throughout his body. That's easy to get. You don't have to ever eat any carbohydrate, and you can get that.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just in there.
Okay. Once you have that topped off, your brain's going to go, okay, wait a minute. We got to do something else with this sugar. It converts it to a long-chain triglyceride. And those long-chain triglycerides will just keep circulating in your bloodstream until it finds a fat cell to go into. We store it in fat cells, right?
Got it.
My friend Gary Taubes has written several books, but one was called Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It. And in that book, he gave the best kind of cartoon description of long-chain triglycerides of anyone I've ever known.
Ooh.
So you have a fat cell. We all have the same number of fat cells. By the time we hit, puberty, we become mature, we have every cell we're going to ever have.
Okay.
Right? So the only thing you can do is now increase that cell by putting more fat in it or taking fat out of that cell.
Right.
Rick Springfield, the singer, very lean man,
Jesse's girl,
has as many fat cells as Lizzo, also a singer.
correct.
You would go, oh, come on, Vin, Lizzo's got a lot more. She's a big, heavy woman. No, they have the same. See, Lizzo has now started to maximize her fat cells, right?
So it's what you're storing inside them.
Right. Rick Springfield, you can see he looks like an anatomical chart.
Right.
Right. Both singers, one is maximizing their fat cells. And I used to say, again, back in the 80s, I said, people don't realize this. This is before we had, just mega morbidly obese people. I would say what we don't understand is if you maximized every fat cell, we have enough fat cells in our body to stuff a small couch.
Oh my God.
And now we're seeing that with people, right?
Yeah.
We're realizing what I was talking about They should call me Nostradamus when it comes to health, because I was yelling about this back in 1987. And it was like, come on, Van.
Stop it.
Someone as lean as you. No, you don't have that many. No, I have the same number of fat cells that a fat guy has. Now, my younger brother, who was built like a statue of David, he decided to go in the opposite direction from me. I found the gym after college. He found Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, boy.
So, you know, he's always weighed, he's in the 300s. He's in his 50s now. He's got some health problems. He's got a lot of health problems. And I'm trying to help him with it. It's part of my passion here, right? So Gary talks about this. And he goes, think of your fat cells and think of long-chain triglycerides as being like you went to IKEA and you bought yourself a bed. You bring the bed home, you know, the frame is all taken apart. You can easily walk it right through the door of the bedroom.
Yes, yes.
Got the mattress, the box spring, the headboard, what have you. You walk it all in, right? That long-chain triglyceride falls into the cell very easily.
Yes.
But it's a long-chain triglyceride. It doesn't want to leave the cell. You know, it would have to break down to leave the cell, to be burned. See, our body will burn the short chain and the medium chain. You ever hear MCT oil? We talk about.
Of course.
See, we use that as quick energy, right? As energy exchange.
As opposed to a Snickers bar.
Right. We can use these medium chain triglycerides. It'll give you the same kind of quick energy that sugar will, because our body, oh, I have this energy source. Let me use it now.
Yeah, your body's just reaching for the quickest and closest energy source.
Exactly. And if you're fat adapted, your body's going to use that. But once your body gets used to using fat cells, and if you're not taking in crazy amounts of food, if you know, and that's the other thing that calms down. Once you start eating right, your ghrelin and leptin levels out. Your insulin stays lower. Lower insulin means you're going to burn more fat. You're not a sugar burner. That's how you become fat adapted. Lower insulin levels overall, right? Now you're burning more fat, and your body is more apt to go, you know what? I'm going to take the time now to start breaking down. I like fat. Your brain wants fat. Your body wants fat. It's going to start breaking down those long-chain triglycerides. It's going to break down that IKEA bed that's in the bedroom and just let it slip out the door. What people don't understand is our fat cells are like a bank. Think of it like Wells Fargo. You know, the account every day, money flows in. It's called cash flow. Money flows in. We got to go buy toilet paper, what have you, food, right? Money flows out, but we put more money in.
Right.
So we have cash flow. We have, you know, an ebb and a flow.
Yes.
To the bank account. Your body has an ebb and a flow. But while there's ebbing and flowing, you want that tide to go out and stay out.
It's funny. The first thing I think of, because the kind of shitty TV shows we watch in this house, it's like hoarders. Like, stop hoarding sugar in these cells. Let them go. Yeah. I don't know if I told you this before, but I saw a woman who said she was a nurse many years ago on YouTube, and she called it the whoosh. And I think this might resonate with you. And if it's wrong, please correct me. But she said, you know, for keto, everybody, you know, eats it. And it's not working. It's not working. And she said, you have to wait for the whoosh. And she filled up a water balloon and basically said what you said, which is, this is a fat cell. It's stored. Look at all this stuff in it. It does, like you said, it doesn't want to let it go. And finally, when it doesn't have a choice, it'll allow the water to run out of the balloon. And that's your whoosh. That's when you'll feel a weight loss.
But she's right, but she's wrong about what causes the whoosh. The whoosh is a big water loss, right? So when people, like on day 5 or 6, they'll get the keto flu.
Right.
And they'll feel flu-like symptoms because their body becomes a bit dehydrated. And the reason it becomes dehydrated is because their cells have found that, you know, they're not eating processed junk food from packages. They're not eating seed oils. They're not eating high levels of high fructose corn syrup and sugar and everything else. And those cells calm down. I've had people north of 450, 500 pounds lose 12, 15, 20 pounds in the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I have to keep telling them, listen,
don't keep expecting
that was water weight. You understand that. And they understand it because they've done other diets where even if you do veganism, that's why people get hooked on veganism. They'll do first 2 weeks, they'll go off of all junk food and just start eating, like juicing or something. They think they're getting rid of toxins or whatever they think they're, but just because they're not eating Oreos and ice cream and junk food and seed oils and they're just juicing, they'll get that whoosh too.
Sure. Think about what else you're giving up.
Right. So it works in a lot of different diets.
Yeah.
Right? You just have to keep, you have to keep going in that direction. You have to fix your metabolic system.
And I think for us lay people, what you say makes perfect sense, because it's like, you know what? I tried it and I did lose some weight, but then I stopped losing weight, so I gave up. Right. So you have to think about this in long term, long chain, long term, because this is it's like it feels awesome to get a little bit of weight off right at the beginning. You feel like, okay, if I can just do this every week, but you don't do it every week. That's not how the body works. And then you get discouraged and you give up.
Yeah, I tell people once you get past the big time, and look, the heavier people, they'll lose 8 pounds a month for a while, that kind of thing. But they start getting discouraged after they get, 100 pounds down or so, and they'll go, man, I lost all that weight so quickly. Now I'm only losing a half a pound a week.
It's not working.
I'm getting 3-4 pounds a month. I'm not getting the 8-10 pounds a month. And I'll explain to them, yeah, but the percentage that you have to lose is much lower also. So look at that, because the average of losing is 1.5 pounds a week.
Right.
Or 1 pound to 1.5 pounds a week, depending on who you are. And if you get 4 to 6 pounds a month, you're winning.
Yes.
Right.
You're right. The average, you're taking less off now. You're starting with less now. You're absolutely right. And like I said, I am very, when people go, oh, just do yoga or do it just melts off you. I have never engaged in any exercise, activity, or diet or way of eating or anything where weight has, quote unquote, melted off me. And that is how my body has that. I come from Jewish Russian shtetl DNA. It takes me longer to lose it. And I know now not to be discouraged. It's the way I lose, and it's working.
Gina, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer this. If you were at your perfect weight, how much more weight would you want to lose?
My perfect weight?
Like in a perfect world.
20.
Okay, 20.
Yeah.
So if you lost 2.5 pounds a month, next April, when you put that same bathing suit on, you would be well over 20 pounds down.
Yeah.
It's about 8 months, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Right. 8 months, 2.5 pounds a month.
And that seems to me, my brain tells me, well, that's impossible. Stop doing that. Stop wishing. But when you put it that way, it seems doable.
It's very doable. If I haven't done it 10,000 times in my life, I haven't done it once. I've done it for everyone. This is all I've done one thing in my life. That's it. And I've seen people who never thought they can do it. I know this makes me sound a little bit like Tim Robbins, right?
Tony Robbins.
Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Robbins is the actor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't sound anything like him. So Tony Robbins. So, it sounds a little heady. Oh, wow. Really? Next April? Yeah. Make that your goal.
Yeah.
That's a pretty small short-term goal, which means, look, there might be a little something around Christmas time or Hanukkah, whatever you guys celebrate. I think you do both, right?
Because yeah. Well, Hanukkah, I got to stay away from Hanukkah foods, because what people don't know, it's not just latkes. It's not just fried potatoes. You are supposed to eat fried jelly donuts fried in oil, which we do not do. Hanukkah will kill you.
Yeah. No, Hanukkah, I dated a couple of Jewish women. It's a fun time of year.
Oh.
The Jews know how to party at holiday time.
And we sure know how to eat.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you got to be careful during holiday time. There might be a couple of mess ups, but you can't go, oh, I've screwed up now.
Yeah, it's over.
Your husband's been doing this pretty hard all year long.
Yeah.
Maybe support him in that, and you'll support yourself through that just to hit your goal.
No, you're absolutely right. And the best example I can give is we just went up to Minnesota and we had so much fun, and it was the best. But the way I eat at home was not really available to me all the time. Like, on the menu I showed you, they had tater tot hot dish, which were giant tater tot potato barrels with gravy and cheese and bacon and all this stuff. So that we didn't get that, but the way I eat wasn't available to me. And I got nervous and I got discouraged. And then I thought, you know what? This is 3.5 days and it'll be what it'll be. And you'll go home and you'll get back to what's comfortable and you'll do your thing. Don't let that trip you up. I gained like 2.5 pounds. I took 2.5 pounds off. I didn't freak out.
Yeah. And look, the biggest thing was the whole, COVID thing. I still hit the consults all the time. I was doing great. I've had people that I've lost 120 pounds and COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it. I was a freak during COVID. The first thing I did was I called Concept 2 and said, because I was living in that other small house.
Yep.
I found a breezeway and I measured it. And when I can put a Concept 2 right here. Right. And in a little tiny office I took my bike and put it on rollers.
That's right. I remember that.
Those rollers are sitting right here.
Yeah, you didn't buy a stationary bike. You used your regular bike in the house.
My stationary bike was stuck in storage. We were out of a suitcase. We didn't expect to get stuck in COVID. We expected to come here, live in that small house, find a house to buy. We thought we had a sale, but that sale fell through. The people were unreasonable. So all of our stuff that me and Ozzy had packed up, we had 2 big things of furniture and everything.
Yep.
I wasn't about to go buy a spinner because I had a spinner. But I went, you know what? I have my bike right here.
Yes.
I can get some rollers for like $150, $200, whatever. Right? Just throw my rollers.
I didn't even know that was a thing until you said that. And and I know you're not, but one can't place the blame squarely on the individual who said COVID hit. We were literally told by the government, do not go outside, shelter in place, as though there's an active shooter. I mean, shelter in place. We do not know what we're dealing with. And I get it. We didn't know what we were dealing with, but they pulled a dude off of a paddleboard in Santa Monica in California and gave him a ticket for being outside. So I get it. You got creative and you knew what to do, but there was police tape in front of trail entrances.
That never happened here.
Oh, it was California.
California was out of its mind. People were, shelter in place. People were still walking around. Stores had closed for like a couple of weeks, but then if you needed to go to a hardware store or something, they were all open. Certain places were open.
Yeah.
Restaurants were closed, but we don't go to restaurants really. Like once in a blue moon, we'll hit a restaurant.
Same.
We never go to movie houses because we watch them at home on television and what have you. So we weren't really hurt by the pandemic.
Right.
Right. It's like my life didn't change that much.
Right. Yeah. I forgot not everyone was in California.
Yeah. And most people, walking around, everyone
they shut down Disneyland. We were very, very much locked down.
I do remember walking on the trails. We have this area right around the university. It's called O Hill, Observatory Hill. You can walk up and down. It's not as steep as you want it to be, but at least it's several miles you can walk up and down. And it was during the cold weather, and I would go up for some fresh air every day and just walk up and down O Hill. And it was kind of weird because you would walk, and when you would see someone else, you would both give each other a wide berth because they were telling us at the time, if you even get 10 feet from someone, you're going to die. Right. And that was kind of weird, but people were still out and about doing stuff. And, and then the mask came, everyone was trying to wear a mask and whatever.
Well, I'll never forget. Andy and I went to Phoenix. So went to Scottsdale during COVID, and they sat us inside a restaurant and we froze. Because in California, restaurants were closed, let alone, no takeout. There was no inside, and we froze. We were so out of our element. We didn't realize the rest of the country had sort of been moving along.
Oh, I mentioned to Andy Schreiber, it was Tallulah's birthday or something. I said, Andy, I got to go. We're running late, reservation. Tallulah. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, it's Tallulah's birthday. We're taking her out for a birthday. And he was like, where were you going to a restaurant? I went, yeah. He goes, how?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a birthday. What do you mean? It's like,
I called, I made a reservation.
he couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
He
same.
could not believe it. And I'll never forget the first time I went to California during the pandemic, because I was working on, I had to go film some stuff for Beyond Impossible. And I got there and it was eerie.
Yeah.
It's like, I got out of the airport, I rented a car, I go to get the car, I'm driving down the 405, eerie. It's like empty.
Yeah. It's like I Am Legend.
I stopped at the Starbucks in Culver City. It's right off
Yeah.
for Washington, right there.
Yep.
And Starbucks I've been in 1,000 times, right? I walked in and people started yelling. It was like, when police go, get down, get down, get down.
Right. Right.
People started yelling at me, like yelling. And I didn't know what they were yelling, but they were yelling because I didn't have a mask on.
Oh yeah. You can't come in.
And I was like, I'm sorry. And I reached in my pocket. Luckily, I had a little crumpled up thing and I put it in my face.
Yeah.
We weren't even doing that anymore here.
Wow.
And they yelled at me, get that mask on, get that mask on. No. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. You could not enter inside of a door without a mask. And whatever, like it is what it is. In hindsight, certainly 2020. But yeah, it was for you, you were like, am I on some alien planet? For us, that was just life.
I don't know how I get how people started drinking because that's the other thing I hear.
And the kids were home. We were doing Zoom school with our little guy, and he's doing physical education next to the dining room table. It was bizarre. So, yeah, I mean, we're not all Vinnie and we're not all so motivated and thinking outside the box to put our bike on rollers, but it really hurt a lot of people. I gained weight because I was in a newsroom for 10 hours a day reporting on this shit. I ended up having to get one of those little pedal things to put under the table just so my blood was circulating.
I think I told this story before, but they were building a church, not a church, but a thing next to the church right on campus.
Uh-huh.
And I would walk past it on the way to O Hill every day. And the guy was working on it with a front end. You know what a front end loader is, right? It's the big scoop bucket.
Oh, yeah. Like the earth mover thingy.
Right. And on the end of it, there's prongs that stick out, to dig in deeper.
Right.
So one day I passed by there and I said, hey, man. And he shut it down for a second. He goes, yeah, how can I help you? And I said, can you do me a favor? He goes, what do you need? I said, when you leave tonight, can you leave that bucket about 6-7 feet up and just curve it in like that? He goes, why? And I said, my gym is closed. I pass here every day. I just want to do some pull-ups.
Oh my God.
When I pass by to work out. And he said, no problem. And he did that for the next 3 or 4 weeks until that job was finished. I would have to go to different places on that site.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I would pass by every day. And once or twice left him a little thank you note. Thank you for doing this. I would write a note before I leave the house.
You know what? This is yet another reason you'd do well in prison. You're always finding a way to work out.
Yeah, I'm the guy that can figure out Pruno. You
wouldn't drink it. You wouldn't get high on your own supply, but you'd sell it. But
look, the bottom line is where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
In life. That's all I'm trying to say. Everybody's going, oh, the gym closed down. It's like, and by the way, I started off by finding a tree, but the branch was too big, so I couldn't do that.
You couldn't grip.
What I did was I grabbed like this. I grabbed the branch on each side and I would do a pull up. It was like Stallone and
Rocky. My God.
It was like, I would do that, but I couldn't get all the way up and all the way down. And I would lose grip after a few. I couldn't hang on that long. So I was wearing my hands out before I was wearing my lats out. So I saw that and I went, wait a minute. Because I looked at it the day before and I went, is there something, can I grab something on that machine? And I went, oh, wait, the bucket. But the bucket just has to be up. So I saw it the day before. So I caught the guy and said, hey, would you mind? And he said, yeah, no problem. And the guy helped me out for like a couple of weeks.
That is amazing.
And I let him know I was using it by leaving a note a couple of times. Hey, thanks, man. I'm still using this. Thank you for doing this.
That's so great. And such a great reminder, just if it sparks an idea in any of us, because excuses are so convenient and they're so easy. And my gym's closed. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
But let this be a reminder that there's much to be done if you're willing to do it. Thank you for reminding us.
Yeah. And look, I saw some of the kids, some of the athletes from UVA. I was living on a street. It wasn't much of a slant down because they closed all of the tracks at UVA.
Right.
It's like, why did you close the tracks? The kids.
Yep.
But there was a nice little slope on the street. So I would see athletes, walking down, very fit athletes, like you could tell they were on the soccer team or one of the teams, right? And then they would sprint up the road, sprint up the hill and walk down again, sprint up again. Everybody was trying to figure out, people that needed to stay in shape was trying to figure out what to do.
Yep.
Just what we did. So there you have it, folks. Motivate yourself.
Yeah. There's always a way. Find a construction site.
Construction sites are great places, great gymnasiums.
That's fantastic.
You can always find something.
I actually just saw, and we play on it and we go do it, but a guy who said, you don't belong to a gym. There's no one near you. You can't afford it, whatever. It's not, no. Is it exactly the same? No. But if you go to a track or you go to a playground and they have the adult equipment, jump on it. Maybe you'll, it's a little more fun. You're in fresh air. You might not feel as intimidated because you're not in a gym with those swole guys. Just don't walk past this stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, folks, eventually when that guy left, I bought one of those for like $60 from Amazon that you hang in the door.
Oh, Andy has one right here.
Yeah. It's like I hung one in the door and and as a matter of fact, when I bought this rack, it's got one hanging up on top of the rack, so I don't need a pull-up bar. I gave it to the neighbors. There's always something, you can use it and then pass it on to someone else who can use it.
That's great.
That's all you have to do. It's not a big deal.
Nope. And it doesn't have to feel insurmountable. Like you said, it's slow and steady wins the race, and the time's going to pass anyway. So you want to be delighted at the end of it or discouraged?
Absolutely. If you want to be encouraged, even if you are a parent, the original parent of the kid, the OEM, as they would call it. OME, what is it? Original manufacturer. What is it?
Original equipment manufacturer?
Yeah. OEM. Even if you're the OEM of a kid, you want to get the book, My Extra Mom. You don't have to be the aftermarket part.
Well, and chances are there's a good chance that your kid is now back in school with somebody who has a step parent. So help them understand what the other kids are going through, and buy My Extra Mom on Amazon by clicking through Vinnie's link. It's a really cute, really helpful story, if I do say so myself, about having an extra parent. There's lots of fun activities in the back, and available Barnes & Noble and Amazon. But why not click through Vinnie's banner and get it on Amazon? Yeah.
You know what to do. She just mentioned Amazon. Do that every time. Bookmark it. Use it every time. Also, we have the NSNG ebook at VinnieTortorich.com. That's about it. I'm done. I'm done with all of you, especially you, Gina.
I know.
On behalf of Gina Grad, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.